Greetings from my home to yours. This is the beginning of Holy Week, as many of us are preparing to celebrate the holidays of Passover or Easter. It is also the beginning of a week which we have been told will be very difficult for our nation in these days of COVID-19. And many of us are preparing for these special holidays without some of the traditions that we typically share with extended family and friends. In the words of the poet William Blake, joy and woe are woven fine in these times. And I've talked with many friends and family who have said that holding the full span of our emotions in these times feels difficult. The joy and woe that are woven fine feel often like they're in tension with one another. Is it okay to take joy in the small moments, the silver linings of our days, even in the midst of so much suffering? And how do we hold our fear and concern and anxiety, even as we reach out in love and care, not only to friends and family and neighbors, but also to ourselves? Passover begins at sundown this Wednesday. And it commemorates the story of Exodus and the story of the Jews' exodus from slavery in the land of Egypt. It is a story that acknowledges pain and injustice, and it is a story that also acknowledges hope and freedom and the power of community to help attain them. And for those of you who might have celebrated Passover or Passover Seder, the meal which commemorates the story, you know that there are special foods, special traditions that are eaten at certain times in the story to help bring the story alive and to help bring the themes of the story into the experiences of our day and our world. There is a moment in the story where we pause to dip bitter herbs into salt water, to remember the pain and the tears of slavery and suffering in our world. There is a moment when we eat sweetness, a particular dish called harosat with apples and honey and wine, to remember the sweetness of our lives, as well as to remind us of the mortar that connects us as humanity, as we build something new together. The joy and woe are woven fine in the story, and there is even a moment where we get to flick away the plagues that beset the people and the land. But as I have been thinking about what it means to enter this week, I've been thinking about another special tradition called the Hillel Sandwich, named after the great sage Rabbi Hillel. It is said that when he sat down to celebrate the Seder, that he took the matzah with the bitter herbs and the matzah with the sweet harosat, and instead of eating them separately, he joined them together to form a sandwich and ate them together. And when we do this in the Seder, we are reminded that it is the sweetness that helps us to bear the burdens of our bitterness. And it is the bitterness that reminds us to cherish the moments of sweetness in our lives. And it is the matzah, the unleavened bread, that reminds us that a community can meet hard times together and with great creativity. And so I hope that we will find ways to hold both the sweetness and bitterness of our days, not just in this week, in this Holy Week, but in the weeks to come. It is tradition towards the close of the Seder to wish everyone next year in Jerusalem. Next year, may all people be free. Next year, may all people know peace. And so may it be for us, my friends, next year in Jerusalem, for all of us.